Welcome back to Cocktails with Kurt. This is episode 46. We are back after a bit of a hiatus.
Yep.
And
for no good reason.
Ready to drink again.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
That kind of sounds like we haven't been drinking this whole time.
Yeah.
Which might be a bit misleading.
It's not. Well, it is.
It is misleading, yeah. So today's cocktail is the Vieux Carre.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about this cocktail. Sounds like a classic cocktail.
It is a classic cocktail. It was invented in New Orleans in the 1930s. Got into print for the first time in 1937. So it's well documented what the recipe is supposed to be. But it's been around long enough that there are lots of variations out on the web. Most of them, you look like you're about to ask me a question.
I was going to ask you the question of what you said this was first in print. Do you know what it was first printed in?
Yes,
like
it was first printed in a book called Famous New Orleans Drinks and How to Mix Them.
Have we done any other New Orleans drinks? Sazerac.
The Sazerac, yes.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So
I think that's the only other one that we've done. That is quintessential New Orleans.
Okay.
So the name itself is French. It means Old Square, and it refers to the French Quarter in New Orleans. Like I said, it's been around for a long time, damn close to 100 years at this point. So even though the original recipe is well documented, there have been lots of variations out there. Most of them are at the tail end, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. We are going to use the one, at least proportion-wise, that is closest to the original and is currently in use at the hotel that it was first invented at.
Okay. So what are the components of this drink? So
basically, the components are rye, cognac, sweet vermouth, bitters. The original recipe calls for Angostura bitters and Peychauds, and then Bénédictine. We're going to be using today Rittenhouse, which is our standard.
Our standard rye whiskey.
That is our standard rye whiskey. It's our go-to, and we're using the Pierre Ferrand cognac because that's what we have in the house right now.
Cognac is a type of brandy, right?
Cognac is a specific type of brandy. It must be made of using grapes, and I think it has to be the Cognac region of France.
I don't know the answer to that, but that wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. So sweet vermouth, the Cochi Vermouth de Torrino, that's again our standard.
The house vermouth.
The house vermouth, yes. And then Bénédictine, I'm not sure if we've used this before. We've used other herbal liqueurs.
I think we have. It's an herbal,
sweet floral.
I'd have to look back at the
40 plus.
Yeah, but remember there was a New York Times article that talked about the monastery where they Bénédictine and how it was a secret recipe and all that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So then we have Peychaud's bitters and Angostura bitters.
What would you say is the difference in taste between Peychaud's and Angostura bitters?
The Angostura bitters is much, much, much spicier than the Peychaud's. In fact, in my mind at least, it's very easy to go overboard with the Angostura. 2 or 3 dashes is usually more than enough. But we've actually encountered times when Peychaud's has been used to, if anything, reduce the bitter.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little, yeah. It has a kind of a sweetening effect.
Mm-hmm. So, and not all bitters are bitter. It's more of a flavoring where they tend to be bitter, or they're very spicy and predominant. So the original recipe, or at least the recipe that's currently in use at the Hotel Monteleone, if I can say that right, is very explicit in the rye, the cognac, the vermouth, none of which are these. The cognac, we're at least in the same family because they do call for a Pierre Ferrand, but it's not this one.
Let's make the drink.
So we do what we can with what we have.
Well, and these are also considered choices, given that the cognac is related at least to the one that's called for, and the Rittenhouse and the Cochi are
well known to us.
Yeah, they're well known to us.
Yep. So, all right. So we are going to do this. One of the nice things about this recipe or this cocktail is it's pretty straightforward. So it's going to be 3/4 of an ounce of rye.
I like it when there's no complicated math.
Yeah, there's no complicated math on this one.
Yeah, we were talking about one earlier, doing some of our research, and some of the measures were in cups, and then we had to deal with like.
And then it was for four servings.
Yeah, so we had to divide that in order to. Well, and also like the juice of a pineapple can really vary, like in terms of yield.
Yep.
And the volume of that can really vary. So.
Yep. 3/4 of an ounce of cognac.
So I like the 1:1 pour proportions.
Yeah, that does make it a lot simpler. And 3/4 of an ounce of vermouth, sweet vermouth. So the first 3/4, 3/4, 3/4.
So sweet vermouth, is it always red?
Yes.
So sometimes recipes might call for red vermouth.
And
they do that
that's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Rosso vermouth, same thing.
Yeah. I saw a cooking recipe the other day. I can't remember what it was now. I think some sort of pasta dish that called for red vermouth as an ingredient.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Also called Italian vermouth.
Oh.
That's the sweet vermouths were originally predominantly Italian. The dry vermouths were predominantly French. So Bénédictine, 1/2 ounce.
Yeah, a little Bénédictine goes a long way.
And then, where we get to not quite so precise, 1 to 2 dashes of Peychaud's and 1 to 2 dashes of Angostura. So we're going to do 2 of each, just because. I'm doing them in the order that I don't normally do, i.e. bitters last, and I'm thinking, crap, I'm going to make a mess. So 1, 2, and 1, 2.
Because of the splash?
Because of the splash.
Yeah, well that was not that bad.
Not that bad. Now, I was also paying very close attention. So since it's all spirits, we do it in a mixing glass.
You know, that given that it's the week of Mardi Gras, I kind of feel like you should be wearing Mardi Gras beads.
I don't think we have. Well, I know I don't have any. And strained.
So it's a big ice cube there.
Big ice cube. Ice-filled glass. Ice-filled rocks glass. It doesn't specifically say double rocks, but I kind of like the double rocks with the big block of ice. And then it says garnish with a lemon peel or a cherry. I'm gonna do both.
That sounds reasonable. I mean, it's really amazing how much a garnish can really add to a cocktail.
Yep.
We
absolutely.
always seem to skip the garnishes on our food. You know, like the sprinkle of parsley or whatever. Like we'll prepare it and then forget to put it. But but for cocktails, it really does seem to make a difference. That little bit of lemon oil that's expressed there makes a difference. Cherry.
And then a cherry.
Looking good.
So this is one of the quintessential cocktails of New Orleans, the Vieux Carre. See you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.